Good evening or good morning, everybody, depending on where you are. Welcome to our webinar, Capacity Building in Surgical Care, Focus on Education and Certification. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Bassel Mulaab. I am the Healthcare Advisor, the Trainer, and Infection Prevention and Control Consultant for the Compass Health Consultancy, and I'm based in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I'm an internationally recognized IPC expert with 13 years of experience. I served as an IPC consultant for several organizations, including the World Health Organization. I also served as an international member of the Annual Conference Committee of the Association for Professionals in Infection Control and Epidemiology, APIC. And I'm currently appointed as a member of the Society for Healthcare Epidemiology of America, the SHEA, Awards Committee. I'll be moderating this webinar this evening, and I'm glad to welcome you all. We will share the recording link via email after the webinar with all attendees and registrants, including those who registered but could not attend. Please use the Q&A feature to enter your questions. We will be answering those questions at the end of the sessions. An interactive chat box is available in your Zoom page to allow you to chat and interact Building a great perioperative workplace requires optimizing the art of developing, protecting, and cultivating capacities. The aim of capacity building is to improve capacities and infrastructure by creating new approaches, structures, or values which sustain and enhance the abilities of practitioners and their organizations. At the individual level, capacity building refers to the process of changing attitudes and behaviors. At the institutional level, it focuses on the overall organizational performance and functioning capabilities, as well as the ability of an organization to adapt to change. A successful capacity building program for healthcare professionals that focuses on training, education, and certification must be effective, efficient, and sustainable. So without further delay, we shall start our webinar with our special guest from the US, Ms. Renee Battier, who's the Vice President of Nursing at the Association of Perioperative Registered Nurses, AORN, from the US. Ms. Renee, she leads and manages the Division of Nursing, which includes the nursing education, nursing practice, and ambulatory surgery departments. She is responsible for planning, developing, and implementing educational products and services designed to meet the current and future needs of the AORN's members and customers. Renee's nursing career spans 40 years, and she has been highly engaged with AORN on the national level and served the association as a board member, as a vice president, and as a president for the 2015-2016 term. Her topic will be the global efforts in strengthening the standardized surgical care and the pathway to build capacities in the perioperative practices. We'll be having an exciting program for today that appears on this screen. And without any delay, we'll switch to Ms. Renee to start her slides. You're welcome.
Thank you, Bassel. Let me see if I can pull this up. That's the biggest challenge, right? And
you're succeeding in that.
I'm getting there. It's always extra fun doing it in front of everyone, right? Well, welcome.
You got it.
Greetings. It shows. Are we good? All right. We're on our way. Thank you. Greetings to colleagues from around the world. I'm really honored to be here and represent AORN as a partner with Compass in growing surgical capacity. Compass has gathered a really esteemed panel here of nursing leaders, and I'm really looking forward to a great discussion today about building surgical excellence. So what is capacity in surgical care? Here is my simple definition. the right resources for the right surgical care at the right time, individuals, team, and physical resources with optimal outcomes for the patient. Really simple to describe and not so simple to achieve. We all want optimal outcomes for the patient, and the pathway to that is complex. Why surgical capacity is important, I thought, really depends on your view. For the administrator, surgical care accounts for 60% or more of the financial bottom line of a hospital and a significant amount of the reputation. High functioning teams bring safety and efficiencies to a high cost and a high revenue area. The view of the surgeon is that a well-educated and highly competent surgical team enables the surgeon to give timely care and to concentrate on the high-risk technical aspects of the surgical procedure that then maximizes safety and efficiencies. And we all know surgeons like to do lots of cases. The view of the patient is that they expect us to provide safe, high quality, and timely care to improve their health. And we all want happy patients. So what's the view of the perioperative nurse? I thought it's really about having the resources needed to deliver great care and work with a great team that they can trust and grow with. The perioperative nurse comes to work to deliver great care, and they want to be proud of that care. They want the education and resources to continue to grow as professionals. They want safe levels of staffing, which means they want a strong team culture that keeps great nurses and attracts great nurses as their colleagues. As a career-long perioperative nurse myself, as I was reflecting on this, I thought there's a great many things about perioperative nursing that really have not changed a lot. Perioperative nursing is high tech, and it's constantly getting more and more technology that evolves. It's also high risk. Evidence-based practice drives the prevention and safety that are needed to deliver safe care. There is constantly the pressure of throughput and time in this environment. Minutes are risks for patients, and so that constant pressure is always there. The team dynamics mean that the communication skills are as important as the clinical skills in providing safe procedures. The care in this area is highly specialized. You can't just have the emergency room or the ICU nurse drop down and cross cover for breaks. You can't just go home when you're tired. Cases have to be finished regardless, right? And the on-call and after-hours needs are a part of the workload, which makes it extra challenging in terms of staffing. Most importantly to me, the patient gives us their sacred trust to advocate and speak for them when in our care. That hasn't changed and won't change. But some of the things that have changed have been big. The pandemic was a huge disruptor of care delivery and the impact on healthcare resources. There are staffing shortages globally. It is harder to recruit and it's harder to retain good staff. There's estimates of 20% of nurses planning on retiring within the next 5 years, which means this problem is not going away soon. Post-pandemic surgical volumes, while they dipped for a while, definitely are growing. So the need for perioperative nurses continues to be a challenge. And the evidence has increased that does demonstrate standardized evidence-based education improves patient outcomes and decreases the cost of care. So the investment definitely is worth it. For those of you not familiar with AORN, the Association of Perioperative Registered Nurses was founded in 1949 to establish a national community for operating room nurses who sought to share best practices for patients undergoing surgery. Today, we unite and empower perioperative nurses, healthcare organizations, and industry partners to support safe surgery. You can see our tagline at the bottom of the slide. You can see our vision on this slide, and I love that, and I think it really fits with today's topic. AORN will provide indispensable evidence-based resources to establish the standards of excellence for each phase of perioperative nursing care to achieve optimal outcomes for every patient, every time. We are the largest perioperative specialty nursing association and are proud of our reputation for supporting excellence in surgical care. So this is our position statement supporting the perioperative registered nurse circulator for every patient. And I added it here because I think it really speaks to the impact of the perioperative nurse on patient outcomes. Patient care in the perioperative setting is dynamic in nature and depends on the clinical knowledge, judgment, and clinical reasoning skills possessed by the perioperative nurse. And improved patient outcomes have been demonstrated with improved staffing, enhanced work environment, and better educated nurses. All the things we're talking about today. There's much more in that position statements, but I thought those two pieces were really helpful for our topics today. And we do know that quality education can save lives. Here's a few comments of how this pertains in perioperative nursing. Studies from the National Institute of Health show that a root cause of medical errors often results from deficiencies in education, training, orientation, and experience, again substantiating the importance of quality education. Staff turnover is costly to all departments. And in the US, the average right now is running at about 27%, which is very high. Career advancement and continuing education are often cited as positive influences on employee retention, which we all want. Professional practice based on the highest standards of evidence and lifelong learning will continue to bring the highest standards of patient care to the nursing role, which is what nurses come to work to do each day and ways we can support them. AORN has worked with Compass to develop a pathway for building surgical capacity through a standardized process for perioperative education. You can see the key components here on this slide, and I'd like to share a little bit more about these elements. AORN believes strongly about a structured, standardized process for entry into practice, and we have a position statement about this. We call it residencies here. Here's a couple of key elements which I believe are helpful. Perioperative registered nurse residency programs are essential to assist in decreasing the theory-practice gap and increasing confidence, knowledge, and competence, professional interdisciplinary communication, and nurse retention rates. The impact of a strong standardized educational program is many. Leads to increased job satisfaction, increased critical thinking skills, and decreased turnover rates for nurses, and it provides cost savings to healthcare organizations. Nurse residency programs lead to improved nursing practice, increased clinical competence, and improved time management and leadership skills. They also improve communication and collaboration skills, which are essential in the perioperative environment. The first element in this career pathway is Periop 101. It is the standardized entry to practice for all perioperative nurses, whether new grads or experienced nurses. It brings the highest standards of evidence to the knowledge and skills needed for competent practice, with topics such as sterilization, positioning, medication safety, electrocautery, professionalism, and I could go on. We know from our customers that it reduces staff and educator training time by having this structured program, that it leads to increased nurse confidence in evidence-based practice skills and knowledge, that it does lead to increased retention, critical thinking, and application skills. So who is it designed for? We are really proud not only of the quality of the information in this program, but the variety of ways that the information is delivered, including interactivity with real-world scenarios, animations, graphics, and clinical illustrations. We have gamification to help drive student engagement and retention throughout the learning process. There are micro-learning elements to help students recall, retain, and transfer knowledge. And we have video demonstrations of clinical techniques embedded in this program. This program is very successful and continues to grow. Over 4,000 organizations have used this over the years, and last year alone, over 13,000 nurses were enrolled in this program. We are very proud of the success of this program. All of these programs on this pathway are evidence-based and reinforce AORN's guideline for perioperative practice, the gold standard for surgical, patient, and worker safety. These all are also continually updated as the evidence changes to reflect the ongoing improvement of excellence in surgical care. We believe that safe care comes through knowledge and skills that have been validated by a standardized educational process, which this reflects. After the Periop 101 as entry into practice, the Periop 202 courses continue with specialized procedural content. The pediatric course addresses this special patient population, so important in the care that we deliver. The quality improvement courses teach ongoing care improvement processes for the nursing staff to be able to do that. And the CNOR prep course reflects the highest of perioperative knowledge in certification. So AORN and Compass Health Consultancy, a really exciting partnership. Together, we are working to standardize education for building your surgical capacities with high quality education for highly effective perioperative nurses. Thank you so much for including me today. I look forward to hearing more today from this esteemed panel of colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Renee. That was a very nice overview about the activities of AORN. We'd like to thank you. As I mentioned in the chat box, if you have any questions related to the presented topics, please mention it in the Q&A, and we'll be happy to answer those at the end of the webinar. Now, we'll be switching to the second speaker for today. This is Dr. Zena Khouri Stevens. She's the Group Chief Nursing Officer at the Emirates Hospital in the United Arab Emirates. Dr. Zena has vast experience in nursing and leadership exceeding 30 years. She served as the Chief Nursing Officer for different healthcare organizations and is recognized as a national influencer in the field of nursing. She has more than 15 publications in peer-reviewed journals and received numerous distinctions, including a government-appointed position to represent critical care nursing and Lean Six Sigma Green Belt certification. Dr. Zena will be talking about the challenges of building capacity in the surgical care. Welcome, Dr. Zena. Ms. Renee, please. Okay.
Okay.
The floor is yours. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the introduction. I think I would sum it up with an echo what Renee just said, that surgical capacity is very difficult to build, but I will focus on not only surgical capacity in hospitals in the Middle East, but specifically in the private sector, because unlike the West or the US and Europe, we have unique challenges where private sector versus the public sector in the Middle East has different struggles. We all share the same struggles with turnaround time, with the turnover of nurses, with how can we make sure we retain nurses and all of that. And that is specifically true post the pandemic. So we've seen a large exit of nurses out of the profession as a whole, and specifically out of the OR. I'll speak of my areas. The hardest places to recruit for have been the OR. And you would think that's not the case because the OR has sort of during the pandemic had been put on hold, but those OR nurses sacrificed a lot of time and energy to start rebuilding their skills and all of that. And the retention was not there for 2 years. So we're sort of post-pandemic have increased the resignation. But even before the pandemic, the OR has always been a place where it's very difficult to recruit. Graduates, all new grads, do not get enough exposure to the OR. So the education and the service sector don't link up on the OR. So the natural answer would be, let's create a certification program, a residency program, wherever you are in the world. That's called different things, but there has to be something that bridges that gap from graduation to a practicing OR nurse. It is the one place that is very high stress, very difficult. It's one-on-one nursing. And if you don't know the OR, you can't function. You either know it or you don't. And to be able to know it, you don't graduate knowing it. So there's got to be programs in place, such as the one that just described, and partnership in place across all hospitals and OR consortiums or anything like that, that can prepare nurses that are new grads that want to start a career in the OR, or returning nurses, an ICU nurse that decides to say, okay, I'm going to give the OR a try. How do you build those skills? Because if you don't know the OR, it's a very scary place. Nobody graduates and says, oh yeah, I want to be an OR nurse. You don't get enough exposure to know it. So there's really a lot of training that has to be done, whether it's new grads or seasoned nurses, to be able to get them comfortable with the concept of an OR. And then the possibility of retaining them after that is higher. The other things we face that are unique to us is our dependency on foreign nurses, right? And nurses that use the Middle East or use the UAE specifically as a stepping stone. We spend a few years and then move out to the US, the UK. So really there needs to be a concerted effort to focus on local nurses, focus on local programs that can actually entice people to stay not only in OR nursing, but also within the country, and give back expertise, give back clinical skills, and stop the constant bleed out, and sort of, replenish nurses with a constant pipeline. And the things to do that with are partnering with universities and partnering with companies such as ARN, North Campus, to be able to create residency programs that are at the hospital level. We partner as a hospital, a group of hospitals, if it's not every single hospital, with someone that can teach nurses, can show them, mentor them, increase their critical thinking skills, and increase their comfort level with surgical nursing, with OR nurses. Perioperative nurses are not made, they're made, they're not born. You're not something that is easy to come by. And then you've created a retention program that keeps that pipeline feeding. Give them opportunities, have succession plans, have an opportunity to do. OR nursing is very diverse if you really look into it. They don't have to be stuck in one. There's different services they can cater to. There's inpatient, outpatient. There's a lot of opportunities in the OR once you get to know it. But the only way to do that is through residency programs or through certifications, through postgraduate programs that focus on perioperative nursing and nothing else. And that would teach them team building. That would teach them the critical thinking that they need, and would result from the hospital side, for selfish reasons, it would help me retain those nurses. It would help us compete with the public sector, compete with everybody else that wants to sort of recruit all the high quality nurses. There's got to be programs in place that retain them and keep them. And the only way to do that is through education, is through opportunities that they see as fit for them and all others. So I definitely echo what everybody said, and I look forward to other experiences. Our experience in the private sector has been difficult. It's not easy. It has been very difficult to attract qualified OR nurses, to retain them, to keep them. It has been very, very difficult. So I look forward to hearing from others. And maybe we can work together on creating a residency program throughout the UAE, creating a residency program throughout the private sector or throughout the public sector. So nurses have a choice when they graduate and have something to fall back on. All right.
Thank you, Dr. Zena, for giving this
Thank you.
feedback about the challenges faced in surgical practice. I guess each unit or each specialty has its own challenges and struggles, especially with what happened during the pandemic and currently now with the effects of the post-pandemic changes. Thanks a lot for this, and we'll be moving to get a talk from our third speaker for this evening, Professor Sylvia Shaki. She's the Dean of the College of Nursing at the Gulf Medical University in Ajman in the UAE. Professor Sylvia has more than 40 years of experience with integration of nursing education and practice. Currently, as the Dean of the College of Nursing at the Gulf Medical University, she has been nominated as the member of the National Committee for Nursing Midwifery Affairs, National Task Force Committee member for Nursing Education and Professional Development, and a Commission for Academic Accreditation Reviewer for Ministry of Higher Education in the UAE. Professor Sylvia will be addressing a topic of building capacity challenges in the nursing career with a focus at the university studies. Professor Silva, kindly share your screen.
Yes, thank you.
To ask other speakers to mute their microphones. Dr. Ilham, please. And the floor is yours, Professor Sylvia. Go on, please.
Thank you, Mr. Basil. And I would like to thank Dr. for giving me this opportunity this evening. And I'm really honored to be in the platform of all expertise from this perioperative nursing field. And I would like to just address and echo what Renee as well as Dr. Zena had raised up. And it's wonderful to see on one part of the world, there's a structured program and where there's progress in this field. But on the other side, as Dr. Zena said, the difficulties that we face in terms of preparing and the challenges that we face in terms of preparing perioperative nurses in UAE. Now, I'd like to just highlight some things that probably, I'll be able to say is, as an example of a nursing system in healthcare organization, it's probably the same in terms of the eastern part of the world, or even most of the part of the world like here, as well as in situations where there is not development in terms of education in this field. Now, for the benefit of the audience, when we talk about perioperative, the first thing that comes to our mind is we're thinking of only operative room. It is not so. It starts from the preoperative, intraoperative, and outside. When they come out, it could not be just only in the operative room, as I have listed for the benefit of you, because we don't have this sort of a specialization in a country like ours. It could be in different areas. Of course, major it happens in the operative room, but it could be in an intervention radiology or a diagnostic radiology suits. It could be in a cath lab. It could be in a surgeon's office. Nowadays, a lot of ambulatory surgeries are done, emergency trauma unit care, and you can list on the place where a perioperative nurse is useful. Just first of all, we need to get the thought that it is just not technical work, because this is what was taught about by many people, or even people in nursing who taught earlier, at least from this part of the world, thought it's just technical. You don't need science behind it. But there are a lot of core nursing skills, as it was echoed by others. Critical thinking. If a surgeon, for example, a cardiothoracic surgeon is coming in tomorrow to do a particular surgery on a child or an adult, he rehearses what happens in the theater. That's exactly what the nurse who's going to also assist needs to know. She needs to know how he's going to perform, what are the things that she needs to get on and keep ready. And if this happens, what she needs to do. If that happens, what she needs to be ready with. So it kind of goes through the whole thing. So she needs to have that critical thinking. Absolute aseptic technique. We know the importance of it. No other area is as more important than that. In terms of legal guidelines, she has to be sure that this person who's operated has gone through all the process, which is right in terms of the right of the patient, right for the country, and policies and procedures. She's going to work with diverse people and patients. The kind of people who are going to come in theater, the emotions that they go through, all that she's going to leave. In the midst of it, safety has to be kept, and it has to be evidence-based, absolute quality care. When a surgeon gets a claim that he's the best surgeon and he does the surgery in a certain, in a short span of time, the credit goes to him, but the credit actually comes from the nurse who's assisting. That's important. She also has to think that, pre-op, post-op, maybe intraoperatively, she's not talking to the patient, but before and after, if she's a perioperative nurse, she needs to know what kind of education she needs to give to the families who are stressfully waiting outside in anxiousness, and colleagues who are assisting, because if the team has to work well, she has to be a person who's able to educate. And fundamentally, she needs to have knowledge, skills, and judgment. So what I'm trying to bring is to the people who are listening, if you're not taken this area of work, it is not technical. It's absolutely scientific based. The knowledge that I put in some pictures, you can see a typical day in a OR. It can never be a day where you can think, oh, today is light. My list is light, so it's going to be light. And that day, one patient can go into serious issues. And there can be so much of issues that she needs to face in terms of being a perioperative nurse. So absolutely, she needs to know surgical intervention. In perioperative nursing, different specialized areas are important. If you are assisting for a knee replacement, it's so different from a person who's assisting for a cardiac surgery. So she needs to know all about the intervention that happens, all about instruments and equipments, what is to anticipate, how to plan this, and the aseptic technique process. She's a person who needs to assess, everybody has assessed and brought the patient, but she needs to be sure that the person is ready to go into theater for surgery. Interpersonal skills, this is the most stressful place. It's a different kind of stress. And critically thinking and deciding and being able to risk manage at any point. And she has to be someone who is based her care in terms of evidence-based. Teamwork is absolutely mandatory. She cannot let anyone work in silo. And participating in multidisciplinary, for example, suddenly in between the surgery, they need a blood result. She has to ensure that she's getting the path or biochemistry labs or wherever it is, getting the result, ensuring it's fine. And she has to be someone who has to have that educational attitude, wanting to be learning every day, not once and for all, and always ensuring that there is a positive patient outcome. Now, this is what we are talking about capacity. Why I just gave this preamble is the challenges that we face because of all that is required of her. What is capacity building? It's a process of developing and strengthening the nursing skills and her instincts and the abilities, processes, and resources that the organization and the nursing profession need to survive, adapt, and thrive in a fast-growing, changing world of healthcare. I just put this picture. You imagine she's a student nurse. Okay, she's all gowned up and gloved up, and she just believes that she's a perioperative nurse. You give her a tray of all the used instruments. What does she know? And if you ask her to go pack it up, how does she know what needs to be done? And there's a lot of critical thinking process, planning. There's so many things that goes on for the knowledge of the science of that surgery. So this is capacity building. Now, I just want to come to our country with a few slides. If you have read on the Centennial 2071 project, which was launched by the Cabinet of United Arab Emirates, they had actually brought in for 2071 UAE healthcare in the next 50 years, they had 3 goals, strategic goals to achieve the future of healthcare in this country. One of the most important one is growing and attracting talent. And only the best healthcare system can be provided with best talent. That is their point of a promise or point of vision that has come up. And for that, you need complex needs requiring clinical specialists. When we talk about clinical specialists, it's just not the surgeon. It's about every healthcare personnel. And a perioperative nurse field, it is an important, the nurse who is there handling this procedure. So there is a vision for this country already about specialization in the next 50 years that is said. Based on that, in 2022, we had the UAE National Strategy for Nursing and Midwifery, a roadmap for 2026. I would like to just bring in a few slides importance of it. According to this roadmap, there are 9 domains and there are 5 different priorities that are shown. And one of the priority is quality and innovative education and professional development. I just like to read it again. Quality and innovative education and professional development. The country has realized that in every area of nursing, you need to have innovative education and professional development. Whichever method that we are going to achieve it, we need to have that. And I would like to highlight one more of that is advanced research, evidence-based practice response to national health priorities. Both have to be scientifically going on if you need to advance innovative education. And just to come to the sub priority in terms of quality and innovative education and profession development, there are 2 things that has been highlighted by this strategy that is planned for 2026 is establish postgraduate nursing or midwifery specialization and advanced practice programs. The country is looking forward to some kind of higher education, which would go to the career trajectory of every nurse. Today, if you look at almost 99% are general nurses who have been trained in their own country, specialized and learned only at work about their work. But for a person to become a specialist, you need to ensure that there is a scientific structured learning and develop national nursing midwifery professional development framework. These are the 2 important thrusts that is placed in terms of quality, innovative education and professional development by the National Nursing Strategy. Now, all of us have already echoed this. If you want to build capacity, there are 3 different areas. One is your system, which is the governance. And already the country has decided that if you need to have, you have to build capacity, there need to be a plan. And so there is already a plan. The second and the third level is where we are talking about today, the organization. As the previous speaker had said, the private and the public, they've got 2 different objectives and 2 different ways of functioning. They need to understand that there need to be a change in the consciousness and awareness of behavior and skills in relation to how they move forward so that you can get effective addressing the global change and achieving sustainability. When that happens, the individual also will get focused in terms of their knowledge, their attitude, their skill and motivation and different area of specialization, very specifically today in terms of perioperative nursing. Now, what are the challenges that we are facing today? Of course, if you take governance, lack of human resource development policy, the country is already putting in. Maybe earlier there were not enough training facilities, so we are looking at various methods like how AORN can be brought. As echoed, the country is also looking at residency, multiple residency program that can come in so that there is training facility. There is lack of induction training, which doesn't happen in any specialization area. You just get a nurse, get her registered, and she starts learning at work. There's no induction. Now, if you look at organization, there's not visible leadership is not there. There's an unsystematic everyday routine, pull anyone and put everyone. So there is no structure and poor working condition. And absolutely professional development opportunities are lacking in many places, especially in nursing. And there's no respect for these professions. If you are a perioperative nurse, you need to be so proud that you are one so that you're able to do that. There is no incentive for them to be a perioperative nurse. So these are things that at organization level, it's a challenge. And proper records of the perioperative registered nurses in the country. And so they will be the one to take up responsibility and bring that particular specialty forward. And of course, lack of opportunities. And so hence the individual is not motivated. This is the major challenge that we are facing. And finally, what happens is this nurse takes it just as a job for her living and doesn't take it as her passion, as her expectation that she is. And so there is, between the competence and responsibility, there's a diverge, and there's no congruence. And so there's no capacity is limited. Now, all of us have said multiple ways. These 3 levels capacity has to be built. I just found this picture you need to have operating room immersion program, at least to initiate with. And that is something that even without even a residency program can be started, so that every operating nurse, when she comes in, there need to be an induction training that goes on there, so that that nurse becomes confident and competent and excited about becoming a perioperative nurse. Now, let me say about a few words, because I am working in the educational arena, and let me just say about education, what's happening. In terms of perioperative nursing, the students get taught this subset of adult health nursing, or we call it medical surgical nursing, different terminology of the course. In that, one of the subset is perioperative nursing. Of course, when you take a Bachelor of Nursing preparation, it's a very generalist preparation. And in a BSN curriculum, they get maybe about 2 units to learn about it in terms of perioperative, intraoperative, and postoperative. And after that, they may get maximum about 4 weeks placement in the theater, or in a place where operations are conducted. What does she learn there? She just learns, maybe how to go surgical gowning, gloving, setting up a tray, how to assess and also observe. And they have a couple of procedures to be observed or surgeries to observe. Beyond that, at a bachelor level, that student is not going to gain anything much, because it's a generalist program. So and this is for every branches of nursing, it's like that. So when does the nurse then become a specialist? When she chooses her niche area, there she needs to have a postgraduate specialization. It's not available. It's a similar story in every area. So today there's a proposal by National Nursing Midwifery Council to commence many accredited clinical postgraduate programs. And one of those can be perioperative nursing, or a master's program, as someone said, or a certification program, a residency program, maybe by the international organization like AORN, to bridge the gap between the standards of perioperative care and in UAE. It can be even initiated by the Compass Health Group, as we have met today. So this is how it should be. I just saw this final slide. I saw this textbook which says professional master's degree for operating nurse and intraoperative care. I hope and pray that our country will reach this position very soon. So this is my thought and take on what I've been asked to, and I hope I have shared some views that it be insightful for others. Thank you.
You're welcome, Professor Sylvia. You did an amazing job in highlighting the challenges, especially the ones related to the current education system related to the perioperative practice. And I'm sure that with strategic planning with AORN and with partnership with institutions and universities, there would be a way to fill the gap in the peri-op education, training, and certification. And this is our aim for the region, hopefully. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now moving forward to a special speaker also for tonight, our fourth speaker, Dr. Ilham Al-Atiq from Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. She's the Chief Nursing Officer at Mecca Healthcare Cluster. Dr. Al-Atiq has more than 30 years of experience. She is a past academic dean of 2 nursing colleges and an active member of many institutions, advisory programs, and had several experiences in international organizations. She received many recognitions from different institutions and was awarded the Arab Woman Distinguished Award for the year 2021. She possesses transformational leadership skills and multiple publications in the field of nursing. She will walk us through the KSA experience in building capacities for surgical care at the Mecca Healthcare Cluster. Welcome, Dr. Ilham. You can share your slides and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be with you all and share our journey and our learning in building the capacity in the nursing workforce, focusing on the education and certification And, through this journey of transformation, as you all know, that Saudi Arabia is going through they're going through a sector transformation with for Vision 2030, and our quadruple aim for this healthcare sector transformation is to improve quality of care, improve the access to care, and better efficiency for care delivery, and increasing employee satisfaction. And this is very much aligned with the global, latest transformation aim. My presentation today, it's going to be really highlighting on and how did we build capacity and where did we start. And I will highlight on how did we align with this vision and based, planned our support for education based on the model of care that is being implemented in Saudi Arabia to better the system so we can achieve those 4 aims. This is the model of care that is newly introduced, that is more integrated, that will address all the issues that we have previously in the old model of care in all the hospital in the Ministry of Care. And it has 6 areas that is of a focus and is very much integrated into 6 layers. The workforce as a capability is one of the main things that, we are going through our, national-wise changes. The workforce is one of the major capability to really implement and achieve the goal that is aimed by the visionary office in the Ministry of Health. As well, we have accountable care organizations aim and a playbook. Also, meeting, developing talent and talent acquisition. We want to develop the employees in general skill, upscaling across the clinical and non-clinical areas. Also focusing, actually it's focusing on all clinician and administrative staff rather than focusing in the previous system, the previous system solely on physicians. Mentoring program, succession planning program, ensuring availability of qualified staff, and developing adequate talented to really implement and achieve the aim the 4 quadruple aim. And of course, retention and recruiting talented is one of the strategies. This is the model of care, and we based our needs for the future, whether, advanced nursing practice, medical surgical, OR, critical care, emergency, and those, where we needed in those 6, chronic of care, urgent care, the last phase in all, the model of care delivery, so we can meet the changes and the transformation is happening in the country. I will talk about quickly, and then I will be speaking about the strategies in building the capability. Mecca would be an example in a system healthcare. Mecca is now it's 11 hospitals and 82 centers. The majority of nurses among this healthcare system is 6,165 nurses. As we see here, and we did a big learning from COVID and what happens, especially we have almost more than 50% of the nurses in Mecca are non-Saudi. And, we learned a lot in building capabilities, building capacity from the latest COVID experience with nurses who were unable to get nurses from India, nurses from Philippines, which really put more pressure on the necessity of really investment in building the capabilities. As you see here, we have 3,202 Saudi and 2,000 almost 936 non-Saudi. We have a large percentage of male nurses in Makkah. In terms of OR and medical surgical, we have 438 nurses in medical surgical, and for OR, we have 270 nurses in OR. We have, some of them are really technician, and this is where we want to aim to really, as previously said in the presentation, to upscale those technicians to a high level so we can really provide safe quality of care and also we have 45 OR technicians in those in our house. In general, for the demographic of the qualifications, we have almost now 2 PhDs, 242 midwives and 123 master degree, and we have the highest are in bachelor. We have good number of bachelor nurses, and we have 2,111 diploma. But we are moving into the bachelor system since most of the schools in Saudi Arabia now only graduate only graduate bachelor degree. Also, we have the certification that is accredited certification by the Saudi Commission. We have among Makkah healthcare clusters, 70 of them is accredited in those programs. The current, 1 minute. Oh, sorry. This is about, the current specialty in certified national certifications, and we are in the progress of, increasing those certifications. This data could be not, and this is one of the challenges in terms of when we became a system level in standardizing and having a centralized data system so we can draw the conclusion, because a lot of nurses is really serving in areas that it's still in healthcare in the cluster, but they are not included in this statistic, so it's a bit more certification. These are also some of the planned. We have 36. We are planned to send for I think for certification. Yes, sorry. For capacity building, what were our strategy in building this capacity? In where did we start, and and the journey? This is what we really did on ground, and we came to capacity that suits the situation that we were in. In the beginning, we really had planned, a career continuum framework, which really adapted from the WHO to look at the nurses and to build a curriculum through the system. And in the next slide, I will share the details of this career continuum framework. We looked at ensuring the competency in the nursing workforce in general, and optimizing also the nursing workforce. All these kind of strategies, we had to put in place so we can build the capacity and capability. We did a system level shared governance, so we can break the silos, share the best practices, a lot of the capability building with working in teams, frontliners we've been able to achieve it through the shared governance that has been built on a system level. Heavy engagement through those councils and empowerment, also skill development, such as for the transformation, such as change management, project management, all these kinds of skills that needed to be prepared. And of course, we have encouraged and support from the unit to the hospital level in EPHC, really the plan, the strategic plan for supporting of education and increasing the national and international degree and certification. And of course, in the end, evaluating, capacity building is not an easy thing, but we looked at evaluation and performance, and we link the leaders, a lot of the staff, goals for performance with our vision, the engagement in participating in the self-governors, which really had helped in the change management. A lot of those technique has been really employed and been working well to start to build the capability improvement for the past 3 years in continuous education, in support, in postgraduate education, whether it's master. We have now currently a lot of the nursing leaders they are joining programs for PhD. This is the career continuum. These are the strategies. Before we looked at, we started with the onboarding, standardizing all these kinds of processes in the 10 hospitals. So we had built onboarding program, general and specific orientation. We have built a framework for preceptorship, so it's consistent throughout the system. And also we have strengthened the professional development where based on assessment, general assessment, and specialized assessment in the area. We encouraged a lot of cross training, and we initiated a cluster academic calendar where the pool of the nursing education are all through the system shared governors are all together working onto maximizing the efficiency and effectiveness of the professional development. Also, the MOC, which is the new model of care, we did a lot of repurposing. We have new roles such as case management, case coordinator, and of course, we looked at advancing the certificate and academic certificate. Those are really to enable us to meet the aims for the health transformation. Again, all my residency, we launched a system-level residency program, or NICU is already on board, and we have OR residency program looking at fellowship for those who are in the system, so we can invest in both are already in the system and want to expand, and the nurses who are joining succession planning, leadership competency from the level of executive and middle management. We provided mentoring inside, and now we are looking at other hospitals in the region, so we can provide more exchange and mentoring for our executive nurses. This is all enable us to really look at, we have this grounds and structure, so we can build. Now we are looking into each specialty and their needs for furthering their education, which is very much needed. And actually, I want to summarize, medical surgical in general, it's been our observation and comment that, we have different view that, our nurses, new nurses, are not, and we cannot retain them in medical surgical, but they are very attracted to OR. It's something that we can capitalize on. There isn't any research on looking at the reasons why, but maybe it's the scope of practice and the way it's been, the nursing is practiced in medical surgical, maybe because, many reasons can be, but there is not even a study. It's been an observation. So we have the interest of those nurses to really pursue postgraduate residency program, and we are, in the way of doing it. Very big demand on certified nurses, because we don't have any nurses in Makkah. They gain their competency through their clinical practice and through our standardized preceptorship. There is an issue also with limitation in the investment in general in nursing, in the system level educational database that we are in the phase of transforming, and always data and database takes time to build. The turnover rate, of course, because we have a lot of 50-50 almost local, and we have a lot of turning. Although we do, it is very popular that the hospital really prepares very high skilled nurses. They are exposed to Hajj and Umrah, a big, massive crowd. The educational system is very much, strong, that, a lot of nurses gets from Mecca very big offers after this exposure of this meeting. So that's really an indicator of a lot of, how we are doing in continuous education. Of course, we had a calendar, that really is ongoing all the time, and we maximize the benefit of being in 10 hospitals with 10 different departments of nursing education. Of course, the cost of nursing certification is a concern, and also the criteria for application. So really, we need to build the skill and ups. And nationally, there is limited postgraduate seat compared to the ambition of the nurses to really in bridging, whether it's in bridging and in postgraduate specialty. Thank you so much for the time and for this opportunity to share with you how we are, in the progress of building our capacity in the nursing workforce, and especially for OR and medical surgical. Thank you.
You're welcome, Dr. Ilham. Thank you so much for this nice overview about your great activities and the experiences that you had to build the capacities at Mecca Health Cluster and then KSA in general. That's a very nice learning story. So good luck in your initiatives, and all the best for you. And thank you again for this overview. Now we'll move forward to get the talk from our fifth speaker for today, Ms. Mariam Al-Balushi. She's the Director of Nursing at Dubai Academic Healthcare Corporation in UAE. Mrs. Mariam is responsible for initiating the foundation of a centralized nursing department, building a centralized nursing KPI and performance monitoring system, and overseeing manpower, staffing, and budgeting. You're welcome, Mrs. Mariam. You will be addressing the topic of UAE experience in building capacities for surgical care. The floor is yours. Please share your screen, and welcome again.
Good evening, everyone, or good morning from where you are. Thank you very much for inviting me to this very important webinar addressing very important topic. I would like to thank everybody for sharing their experiences with us. Today, we're talking about our experience in building capacities for surgical care within DAHC. We are DAHC, Dubai Academic Healthcare Corporation. We are the corporate, formerly we were the DHA, which is Dubai Health Authority. So we are going through corporatization and vision and values for DAHC is that together we advance health for humanity. Our mission evolves around how we serve to impact lives and shape the future of health through integration of care, learning, and discovery. We are a collective of healthcare facilities, hospitals, and primary healthcare and specialized healthcare centers. Our services vary from pediatrics to trauma to secondary care and primary care and specialized care. We also have a humanitarian foundation with us within the academic corporation, and we are in partnership with MBRU, Mohammed bin Rashid University, as our academic partner in this academic healthcare system. Our primary value in the AHC is patient first, and respect, excellence, teamwork, integrity, and empathy are very important values within our organization. Most of my colleagues have already introduced what is capacity building and the importance of capacity building. So I'm going to go through this very quickly to skip to the new concept that I'd like to introduce in capacity building and nursing professional development. So nurses are the forefront of our healthcare services and even have a major influence in determining the degree of quality of healthcare services in hospitals. The objectives of nurse training, especially in the operating room, are to improve the performance of organization and enhance patient safety. Continuing professional development is essential to ensure that nurses and midwives maintain their skill levels after entering the workforce and are competent to practice according to national professional standards of nursing care and global best practices. Regulating of nursing and midwifery profession is critical to ensure the quality and safety in clinical service delivery. So I won't bore you with the definition of capacity building. This is a quick reminder of how capacity building in healthcare refers to our actions taken to strengthen the organization's ability to achieve its mission and in an effective manner. So we at the AHC are at the taking the steps of assessing our situation of where we are as a corporate. So we manage the demand. We manage the demand according to, I'm sorry, I cannot see my screen. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we do.
Yes, I think, yeah, I think it's okay now. So we are taking the first steps on planning on how we build our capacity within nursing workforce by managing the demand according to our healthcare organization priorities and needs, doing a top-down organizational approach and endorsement, evolving and improving the appropriate staff and resources in our plan, partnering with healthcare organizations, global and local organizations to develop and build our competency, the competency of our staff, updating our policies and procedures, standardizing our processes and practices under a shared governance model, tailoring the plans to meet our needs, and monitoring, putting together a system to monitor our performance to meet our organizational vision and mission. So we're using the model, a very simple model and steps to build our capacity within nursing professional development, to determine the current capacities and assess the skills of healthcare professionals, establishing our goals within a clear vision for all of the units and departments at the level of administration, determine and the capacities and gap strength, decide on strategies to achieving these capacities, to implement them, monitor them, reassess them, and plan for the future based on the results. I would like to share with you today our strategy of the framework of nurses and midwives' core work needs during our assessment, our initial assessment in the Central Nursing Department that is being established within the AHC. My former colleagues have spoken about the importance of emphasizing on critical thinking for OR nursing, the importance of practicing evidence-based and scientific-based practices within OR nursing. The former colleagues also spoke about the importance of resilience and strong management to reduce our turnover rates and to retain our nurses. Also to attract more nurses to perioperative fields, and to encourage them to remain within our organizations. So I'd like to share with you the ABC of nurses and midwives' core work needs that we have before our eyes throughout our organizational assessment for transformation. Autonomy, belonging, and contribution. The emphasizing on the autonomy of nursing is very important in all fields of nursing care, especially for perioperative nursing care. The need to have control over one's work life and to be able to act constantly with one's value. It gives the nurses the authority, the empowerment, and influence. Also, the justice and fairness and work condition and working schedule to help in the retaining the talents and reducing the turnover rates. The feeling of belonging, the need to be connected, to cared by and cared for by colleagues, and to feel valued, respected, and supported. This emphasizes the value of team working and culture and leadership in nourishing the culture and compassionate leadership to enable high quality continuity in professional development and improvement, compassionate care, and staff support. Contribution is one of the very important elements that we consider throughout our organizational assessment. The need to experience effectiveness in work and deliver valued outcomes by assessing our workload, our management and supervision, mentorship, the availability of the educational resources, learning and development resources. So as my first colleague in the webinar have spoken about how corporatization focuses on efficiency, quality, and speed, and the reduction of cost within our end-to-end processes and daily operations. I would like to emphasize on the importance of the concept of anti-fragility and emotional intelligence. Non-healthcare organizations have adopted excellent models of anti-fragility within their professional development models and the corporates to meet these goals, which is increasing efficiency, improving quality, improving speed, and reducing waste. One of these very important corporates is Google, the service that we use every day. I would like to share the story of Chad Ming Tan. He is the professional development manager who have issued the Bible of the importance of anti-fragility and emotional intelligence in work to achieve the desirable outcomes. He also wrote a book. It's called Search Inside Yourself, which is something I highly recommend to read, based on scientific methods and evidence. So what is emotional intelligence and why is it important for us? Emotional intelligence is the ability to monitor one's own and others' feelings and emotions, to discriminate among them, and to use this information to guide one's thinking and actions. So emotional intelligence increases personal well-being, increases leadership ability, increases team performance, improves decision-making, decreases occupational stress, and reduces staff turnover. And these are all outcomes we would like to see, and we would like to experience whilst developing our staff everywhere in nursing, especially in the operating theater. So investing in emotional intelligence has 5 components. And just like in nursing, we led the change from moving from case-based to evidence-based, introducing critical thinking, introducing shared governance models, introducing and leading the change in organization by repurposing workforce, repurposing programs. I think it is also time for us to build our evidence, to build our capacity by using emotional intelligence components throughout our programs, throughout our strategies. So the 5 components of emotional intelligence are social skills, being able to create and maintain healthy relationships, decision-making, which is very, very important in professional development and perioperative nursing, the ability to make responsible choices and accept the outcomes, empathy, which is a very core value of our profession, self-regulation, which is very important for nurses everywhere, especially in the operating theater, to gain the ability to regulate emotions and actions in a variety of environments and circumstances. Also self-awareness, the knowledge of one's own thoughts and feelings and motivations. So I'd like to conclude my presentation with the importance of capacity building. Capacity building is a teamwork, it's a team effort. Efforts should focus on what works at the level of individuals, departments, organizations, and systems. Capacity building in nursing will enable all individuals and the organization to function at their highest potential capacity to achieve excellency in healthcare and in patient care. Building the evidence to support the use of anti-fragility methodologies and nursing professional development, I think is an important step to take to lead the change, to introduce this component within our professional development models and strategies to improve nursing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Mariam, for this nice reflection and of the activities that you're doing in the UAE. That's a great story to learn from and a great overview. Thanks again. And we are reaching to our sixth and last speaker for this evening, Ms. Caroline Billain, the founder and the CEO of the Compass Health Consultancy in the UAE. Caroline is a recognized leader, consultant, and a trainer in the healthcare industry. She has a solid medical background that exceeds 32 years in healthcare management, accreditation, and providing medical solutions. In 2019, Caroline founded the Compass Health Consultancy Company in Dubai, UAE, to support healthcare facilities in attaining their key performance indicators via tailor-made solutions and education programs. She led several research projects and published in peer-reviewed journals. She will be addressing the approach by the Compass Health Consultancy for training and certification for the perioperative nurses in the Middle East and Africa region. Welcome, Caroline.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our guest speakers for their valuable insight about capacity building in surgical care and about their time. You know, WHO defined capacity building as the development of knowledge, skills, commitment, structures, and leadership to enable effective health promotion. And to do it effectively, we need to focus on individual, organizational, and community. Building capacity is needed to achieve safer surgical care and prevent a medical error. At present, one of the biggest deficits to capacity building in surgical care in Middle East and Africa region is related to staff knowledge and training in perioperative care. This is a reflection of the diversity of the nursing team, lack of standardization in the perioperative care, and lack of formal training and certification for perioperative nurses to help them be more confident and gain robust learning in best practices, leadership, and critical thinking to successfully foster quality and safety improvement in surgical care. You know, the right approach for capacity building in perioperative care is to develop a plan that strengthens the organization's ability to achieve its mission efficiently and effectively. So we start by understanding the perioperative nurses' capacity. And as we all know that perioperative nurses are collectively responsible to improve safety and quality in surgical care. So the big challenge for the organization is to understand the knowledge, skills gaps of their team. We at the Compass Health Consultancy, our vision is to enable healthcare organizations to enhance safety, quality, and efficiency of healthcare practices to achieve zero harm while maximizing cost-effective solutions. And in order to achieve our vision, we want to empower health professional organization through knowledge transfer and coaching to execute to improve performance and revenue. Therefore, we partnered with AORN to deliver exclusively in the Middle East and Africa region an education and certification program that can help to build competency of perioperative nurses. Our partnership serves to establish a career path for perioperative nurses, to advance the perioperative nurses' skills, to deliver safe care surgery for every patient and every day, and to improve efficiency in surgical care. Gap analysis to perioperative nurses' skills is critical when we want to build a capacity building in perioperative care. We can help you to understand the knowledge and skills gap of the OR team. by implementing perioperative guideline assessment tool that can help you to get a knowledge about the gaps of your operating team. You will have a benchmark of your team knowledge, skills in surgical care. And guess what? This will help as well in their career developments to select the candidate that can help be a great leader in the OR. We started building nursing career path in perioperative care last year in 2022. We started in UAE. This year, we are starting in Saudi soon, and other countries will follow. We are offering a range of training and certification that really is critical to build capacity of operating room nurses. And all these training and certification are accredited by the American Nurses Credential Center. Starting by Periop 101, as Renee said, it's very critical, this program, because it is the ABC for any nurse to know about the best practice, evidence-based of why we are doing an OR, all these pre-pair, preparations that can help to achieve safety and quality in operating room. We are teaching them through the Periop 101, the etiquette in OR. So we are offering in the region Periop 101 for ambulatory and Periop 101 for hospitals. And this program is delivered within 2 months that we focus on the evidence-based that AORN guidelines are really updating it every year. And this course provides OR nurses with the up-to-date clinical skills, leadership. We work to build their confidence, their critical thinking, their branding, while excelling as a perioperative nurses to ensure optimal outcome for surgical patients. The program are certified by the American Nursing Credential Center, and there are 39.8 credit for the Periop 101 for hospitals and 40.3 credit hours for the ambulatory care. And you know, at the end of the course, they will have an assessment to their knowledge. They should get 80% and above a score, and then they will get certification from AORN. We are delivering this program in hospital facilities as well as in Gulf Medical University, where we have a big simulation center that really we work with our instructors who are surgeons, anesthesiologists, infection control, preceptors in OR, leaders in OR, that we focus all our effort to build their capacity and focus on their weaknesses once we understand their gaps. And this is why we do a lot of workshops that really can help them in their daily life in the OR. And hospital, they use Periop 101, report quality improvement, reduce training time for staff and educators while gaining stronger recruitment and retention. We are very proud to bring this program here in the Middle East and Africa to build the capacity and the competency of the nursing operating room. So the hospital who are looking to specialize their nurses in orthopedic, cardiac, and gastrointestinal procedures, Periop 202 is the right program that it is tackling all the best practices and evidence about the surgery in orthopedic and in cardiac and in GI. And again, the courses are certified and credited by American Nurses Credential Center. And we do a lot of hands-on that really can help them in their daily life in OR. And what we are doing that we work closely with the hospital management to understand their need. We tailor the solution for them. We tailor Periop 101 with the Periop 202 needed, and we combine it and we deliver it to their team. To the one who's looking for specialization for pediatric procedure, we have the right solution and training for you. This is a new certificate program that we started this year in the region. We deliver it in 2 days, that we go through the patient pathway, especially the pediatric patients pathway, and the pre, intra, and post. And the surgical team will have a great insight about the anatomical and physiological knowledge and skill of pediatric. And whoever is looking to improve quality in surgical care, we are offering a 2 days education program that really address the risk and the most common breakdown in practices that lead to patient injury, inefficient process, and facility liability. And this program will raise confidence among the team, mitigate the frequency of near miss, and reduce the potential for sentinel events. We're focusing on the 3 KPI, usually most used in the hospital: surgical site infection, sterilization failure, and retained surgical items. And the last but not least, the certified nurses operating room. CNOR is the ultimate certification for perioperative nurses. This certification assesses the knowledge and skills of the perioperative nurses with the minimum of 2 years of clinical practices. Earning the CNOR certification is a mark of distinction and demonstrate a commitment to uphold the highest standard of patient safety and surgical care. And the good news, we're starting with collaboration with AORN, CNOR program preparation in UAE. It will be covering UAE, Saudi, and it will be in October. And we will be communicating about this program soon in our social media. You know, building your nurse's career path in perioperative care, it's very important because really it will help achieving your excellency in surgical care. And an effective capacity building process in perioperative care will help to improve practices and infrastructures in any healthcare organization. Capacity building, it's very important to commit to that process. We need to get the commitment, but it will be well worth it. It's a team effort between the healthcare organization and the training providers, and make the team work. The appropriate training and certification will develop your perioperative nurses team and give them confidence through knowledge. We at the Compass Health Consultancy, we can help you transform your perioperative nurses team to excel and delivering the highest standard in surgical care. And thank you so much for your attention.
Caroline, thank you for this overview. It was really nice to touch base all the programs that are offered in the region. That's a great initiative, and I invite everybody to go to the website and the social media platforms for the Compass Health Consultancy to know about the updates and the offerings of each course that will be scheduled throughout this year. That's great. I would like to ask all our speakers to turn on your videos, please, just for a group screenshot. We're reaching the end of the webinar time, and almost all the questions in the Q&A box are answered. So this will give us the opportunity to conclude soon after taking this screenshot. Ms. Renee, please. Thanks a lot for our amazing speakers. It was a pleasure to have you all with us. And thank you, our webinar attendees. We had a great number for today's event. for attending this outstanding webinar. We hope that you have enjoyed it, and we look forward to having you in our future activities. So stay tuned, stay safe, and this concludes our webinar. Bye-bye, everybody, and see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.